There we go. What's up, Hacksters? Welcome to Thursday. It's a throwback Thursday. We're talking about PCB art. I'm very excited about this one. So a couple weeks ago, I was a guest on a live stream by my friend Moldover. Oh, look, I'm getting a pop-up notification that I'm doing this live stream now. Fantastic. Anyway, we talked about how to make your own circuit board artwork. And I was quickly giving a talk on what were some of my favorite examples of this and how to get into it yourself, depending on what toolchain works best for you. Unfortunately, at the time, I didn't have any actual examples of PCB art with me, so I thought I'd do a recap and also direct you to that live stream. So these are some of my faves. First up, we have one by Holl, Steve on the Robot, and also Claire, but unfortunately I'm unable to find her profile anymore. Let's get a close-up on here. Yes. So this is a beautiful one that they actually gave me one at SuperCon last year because, of course, it's an owl, and I have Archimedes, the owl robot. So this one has some spectacular LED backlighting, using this technique where you have a reverse-mounted LED. Oh, actually, it's not even an LED that's designed for reverse mounting. They just use a regular RGB LED, maybe a NeoPixel or WS2812, and they soldered it on backwards. That's so cool. It's got an on-off switch, a USB charger, and it's got an ESP8266 module on here to connect to Wi-Fi, plus 8 more RGB LEDs that they programmed to be blue, because, yeah, this isn't so blue anymore. I've gotten some complaints. It's gonna be blue again, but it's hard to maintain when you're washing your hair frequently, whenever you go outside. So, yeah, it's called Badge Runner, and you can find Steven at Steven the Robot on Twitter, and the other person is Claire, used to be at Codes for a Day. Hopefully she's just changed her handle, and we'll try and figure that out and send it to you later. But yeah, this is one of my faves. It's so beautiful. Ah, yeah, just so elegant. And it's got 2 ports for SAOs or shitty add-ons. More about that later. The next one is by Diode Red, aka Alex. So this is one of the earliest examples of the art form that I saw. This was actually sent to me by Drew Fustini from Osh Park. And you can tell that it's in their signature dark purple, white and gold Enig-coated copper. And it's just gorgeous. This sort of half-tone technique they used to get that beautiful shading with the Enig coating and the white silk screen on there. Just the detail they were able to achieve and the subtlety of it, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's sort of different from a lot of these sort of use different layers and things to achieve different effects and like depict something and have the board shaped like something. This is much more like a painting almost, like a beautiful digital painting. And of course it's got that shininess that's just gorgeous. Love it. So this is by Diode Red on Twitter. Links as always in the description of this video. A bunch of them are condensed down into a single link. Those are the ones that I shared on the live stream with Molds a couple of weeks ago. Next up, I have not actually this board, though that would be really cool. I've seen it at a Maker Faire a few times, the Monster 6502. But actually what I have is a business card from, for the project itself. And this is a collaboration. The project itself is a collaboration between Eric Schlipfer and the folks at evilmadscientist.com who make all kinds of amazing, wonderful maker kits. And so this itself is a PCB. And I think that what they have going on under here is that you can see it has this sort of textured finish, right? And I believe that that's achieved by, this is your copper coating here. On top of that, you have a black solder mask. And on top of that, you have a white silkscreen layer. What I think is that they have lines of copper underneath the solder mask, giving us that texture. It's super cool. There's a ton of stuff you can do with texture on these. Speaking of Evil Mad Scientist, this is another collaboration between the same people, actually. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you'll see that it's a continuing work in progress, designed by Eric Schlipfer in collaboration with Evil Mad Scientist Laboratories. They're also the folks that brought you the 3/5 discrete 555 timer, and that's another one of my favorites. Again, the link is in the description below. You can take a look at this really quickly. If you're familiar with 555 timers, or if you're not, rather, they are a little, oh, I should have some here. I totally do, but not right here. Anyway, it's a little, you know, standard 8-pin chip that is used to generate on-off signals, and you can do that in a pulse, so like going on and off at a predictable interval, or to simply do a little timeout and then turn something off or whatever. And what they've done here is broken out the chip, which is an integrated circuit, right? It's a circuit in a tiny little package, and they've taken out, you know, all the transistors that are inside of that chip and all the resistors that are inside of that chip, and they've turned them into physical through-hole components. So you solder it together and you sort of learn what the internals of the chip are like. Again, you've got some nice glossy stuff going on there. I think they have 3 colors of silkscreen on here. It looks like they have white, red, and blue, and that's what those little glossy lines are that you can't see super great right now. And then you like use these screw terminals to connect your wires, and it works like a regular 555 timer. It's so cool. What else have we got? We've got a tiny FPGA, another business card. People do some really cool business cards, and I wasn't able to bring all of them. There's some really beautiful ones from CAD Studio that are shaped like leaves, and like one from this guy from Root Ventures, whose name eludes me for the moment. But anyway, this is a business card from Luc Valenti, the creator of Tiny FPGA, and it's not only a business card, but also a circuit board itself. It's like a functional circuit board. So you put a little CR2032 coin cell battery here, and then you attach a tiny FPGA, one of his modules over here, the A series. What I have here is a tiny FPGA BX, and you can see that it kind of looks almost exactly like a Teensy module. Like, honestly, I have to check every time. So that's not quite exactly pin compatible, but that's what you would do. You put the tiny FPGA there, and you've got some more spots for like through-hole components, and what it is an LED matrix. Check that out. And then you've got little buttons and stuff. It's actually a gaming module, I think. This looks like a joystick attachment, right? You've got these X and Y axes, and you've got X and Y buttons and A and B buttons. Super cool. That's way too cool. And then a little programmer connector. You can see this one is matte black and golden white, which is one of my favorite, actually this one too, one of my favorite color combos, and we'll see more of that later as well. Oh, it's so good. So yeah, you can read all about that on tinyfpga.com/card, and you can read more about, or watch more about the Tiny FPGA BX I just showed you in our previous review of it, which is again linked below. Okay, there's another video from a blast from the past, and this is, we got a bunch of badges and SAOs, shitty add-ons, from Twinkle Twinkle, one of the most prolific and proficient PCB art makers. And you can actually see this one in the background there, the Cheshire Cat that I showed you a second ago. Here are some cool Totoro ones in a couple different colorways. There's an Iron Man one, and you can watch that for more. Oh yeah, there's that Cheshire Cat. So that's the same as this guy. This one again was given to me by Drew Festini, thank you. And it has that backlit technique that you saw earlier on the owl, with this eye here. It's the same thing going on here. You can see that in this case, so you've got that bare PCB substrate here, the fiberglass, with no coatings on it, no copper, no silkscreen, no solder mask. And that's how you're able to have the LED shine through. And in this case, they've actually put some black paste over it on the back to help prevent light leakage. And what we can do is we can attach this to here and it should light up. Oh yeah, so you can actually see it go. And in this case, there are white LEDs, and the little cat face lights up. So good, so good. I haven't got headers on here, or else it would like be a steady connection, but you can see it do its thing. And then here again, you have another way of using copper underneath the solder mask. If the solder mask isn't fully opaque, you can get this beautiful iridescent effect. Look at that. So those stripes are solely created by stripes of copper underneath the purple solder mask. So cool. There's so many ways to get these effects and stuff. And one of the masters of that actually is Andrew Sowa. And I'm going to come back to this in a minute, but you can just see how he's getting a full range of colors by using copper underneath the solder mask. This one again is made by Oshpark, and it's actually a version of me. What's next? Oh yeah, one of my favorites. Abierto.cc created the Fender Eno. So this is an Arduino shield as well as a piece of PCB art, and I've got an assembly guide that just is based on their one as well. But I think the original one is in Spanish, so I translated it for you and gave a few more. Amiga robot? What? Oh boy, I'm gonna lose myself in this page later on. Okay, but for now, we have to do the video, Merlin, Alex. All right, so this is the Fender Eno, and it has these 8 buttons. You can use it to play music. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. It's got 2 potentiometers to adjust the volume and stuff. You've got, this is an interesting piece here. This is an LED cube. So it's got 4 LEDs inside of here, but it's one single module. If I had the right power supply, I could turn it on for you right now, but I don't. It's got a speaker, it's got a little toggle switch, 3-position toggle switch. Ooh, yeah. And another cool thing, a little sort of resistor, multi-resistor module here. So multi-LEDs, multi-resistors, and it looks like the bridge of a guitar or a pickup, which is really cool. This is a wonderfully designed module, and you should totally, it's one of the things that when people come to the office, they instantly call out, they're like, what's that? And what I've done is I've stuck an Arduino Leonardo on here because that is an Arduino that can act natively as a keyboard, mouse, joystick, MIDI controller. And so what I could do is make a little MIDI controller out of this guy. Someday. Someday. So I'm kind of running out of time here, but I'm going to breeze through the rest of the links. The deal here is that most of these I shared already on. So these are the live ones I didn't have for the live stream a couple weeks ago. But if you watch that live stream, you'll get to see most of these other links that I'm about to pull up. So let's go through them really fast. If you want to learn how to do this art, check out the PCB Art workshop that we did with Andrew Sowa, the creator of this. Beautiful little coin thingy. And he shows you how to make your own art. In this case, it is a luggage tag he's designed for Simoniec, and it looks super cool. Now this is using KiCad, I believe. Or is it Eagle? Yeah, it's KiCad. So if you want to know how to do PCB art in KiCad, it's a great way to learn that. You can also check out Andrew Sowa's work at andrewsowa.com and see a number of the different things that he's made. Oh, including this coin. Cool. He did the bench off something or other, like a little coin with Brian Benchoff's face on it. A huge panel with a bunch of old Oshpark stickers, but turned into PCB form. Super cool. Oh, amazing. Anyway, if you want to use Eagle, if that's your tool of choice, use this tutorial from our friend Bradley Gawthrop. He was modeling a little Archimedes and walks you through that whole process as well. Very cool. Doing some of that texturing that we talked about so that you can get various types of color. Look at that. Wow, amazing. And it almost emulates the 3D printing lines as well on the actual bird? On the actual bird, the owl. Another of my favorites for PCB art is Boldport. Star Dreamer has been creating PCB art for years, created his own software for it, in fact, that works with Inkscape, I believe. It is called PCB Mod E or PCB Mode, and you can get these beautiful flowing lines to die for. Look at that. Look at that. The texturing underneath the white color on there with the gold. Oh, this is actually one of my favorites that he's made, which is the Monarch. The Monarch is a Monarch butterfly shaped PCB, and you can see me put it together on Hackster. and see what it does if you scroll to the end of the video. This is from a couple years ago. Yeah, it's just an absolutely gorgeous PCB. I recommend checking it out. Another of my favorite artists is our friend Nick Bizarro, who I believe actually did a noise bridge PCB that I have here, but I can't. You can check out his Instagram, which is linked below, for all kinds of cool... He does a lot of cool stuff with, like, look at these. These are reverse mounted LEDs on the back of the board, shining through these little holes that he's made in it. Not only that, but there's these little streamlines that I believe are just aesthetic, going to those little vias. Isn't that cool? He's got this wonderful, we've looked at a couple of them that shine LEDs through the bare FR4 PCB material. This one shines it through a white solder mask. And you get this flaming skull animation that appears as though magic. So cool. So yeah, a really innovative person who's really doing a lot to explore the possibilities of this art form in particular. Some people are mostly just sort of replicating art into a PCB form, but he's really exploiting the unique features of this material. Here's the matte black and gold thing. This is the USB Ninja, which Daryl from Crowd Supply showed me a couple of years ago at SuperCon, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. Look at those stacked PCBs. Here's an example of a shitty add-on. So I believe this is Andrew Sowa again, the Nefarious. Yeah, and he actually put copper tape onto his fingernail and then soldered the SAO onto there. There's no voltage applied. Obviously, they're all soldered down to the same connection, so you know it doesn't work. But you can attach SAOs there for style. If you want to learn how to make your own in KiCad, you can follow my tutorial for that. I used this to create an SAO design and then mill it out on a Bantam desktop PCB mill. The one that it's attached to there, the badge underneath here, is the Mr. Robot badge by Brian Benchoff and co., which is amazing. You should check it out. We're nearly done here. For more cool PCB art, check out Daniel Oberhaus's article about it on Motherboard from a couple years ago. He's got a lot of pictures of cool ones and some history on the art form. I also did a video last year with an overview of a ton of the different badges I came across at DEF CON that year. We're going to keep cruising through here, but you can see there's this awesome like sword totem one that you can attach different SAOs to. Yeah, cool. A lunar lander, things like that. There's a link to the wonderful cardio badge from Chaos Communication Camp last year, which was able to measure your heart rate and had like this super complex design with pulse sensors and programmable LEDs and an OLED screen. Here's another tutorial that I made about creating your own custom PCBs in the simplest possible way. Some of the PCB design software that you'll use has examples in it, but often it's things that's super complex, like an entire Arduino, and this is a much friendlier place to start. It's called Charmware. You can just Google that, it's pretty easy. Chris Gamble has a Getting to Blinky tutorial for doing general PCB design in KiCad. I just downloaded the latest version of KiCad, and I think this is a little bit out of date, but it's still very useful for getting the hang of it, and there's other tutorials available online. SparkFun has a great set of tutorials for Eagle PCB design from scratch. This one is another tutorial about using Adobe Capture, which is an app where you can basically just Sharpie a design, capture it with your phone, and turn it into an SVG. You can make PCBs out of that. I'll talk about that in this tutorial. And Patcher is a sort of the Polaroids or Tinker Toys sort of like beginning, I just want to get an idea out kind of PCB software where you're not doing anything too complex. You don't need anything too fancy. You're working with a fairly normal set of components, and you want to just get something out quick. And you can output to either a fabrication house or to your Bantam PCB mill. So there we go. Learning tour Throwback Thursday, PCB Art. Check out all these amazing artists and what they're up to, and hopefully this inspires you to get into some of this art yourself. There's so much cool stuff out there. I can't wait to see more of it. All right. Have an awesome rest of your Thursday, and as always, hack on.